since we've done a video on the 55, but rest assured we have been very busy. Seat back frame arrived from Golden Star. We have to do a little modifying for this to fit around the new 2-inch wider tubs. This is the Firewall side of the heater box. I've got to make this little indent deeper because we brought the Firewall in further to make room for the big block. There she is, all welded up, ready to get painted. The heater box is all welded up and done. Amy is getting that painted and assembled right now, and I am onto these doors, and you can see there's some yellow tape on there. I took the wrenches out, made sure I had them tightened and adjusted exactly where I want them with the best fit we could get. So if you look at the tape here, right there it's a little bit tight, so I used the tape to get my perfect gap all the way up, and it looks like it's really good. Right about there. And then I'm going to take the flap wheel, shave this whole thing down to the tape line, weld it back up, smooth it out, and then right up front here it kind of curves up a little bit, so I'll flap wheel that off, weld it back out, smooth it up, and then this back edge here, now it kind of has my gap coming, and then the gap tightens up towards the seam here, which I don't mind. That's kind of cool. What I don't like is that it goes from this and then thickens back up towards the top. So this whole edge along here, I'm actually going to build up some weld to get that gap the same size there, and then flap wheel that all smooth, and then this door is done. We'll move on to the second one. Side looks pretty good. A good gap on there. It's all welded, smoothed out all the way along here. So there's one last little wiggle left along the top up here. So I'm going to grind that off, get that welded up, and then this little deal down here that in a normal car, getting normal body work wouldn't be an issue. Where the rocker and the quarter go together, I'm going to smooth that out like the other side, so you can't even tell it's two pieces. That ends that. Ta-da! 1/8" drill bit is the exact same size as an 8-penny nail. So now that we have the doors set and all the gaps where we want them, these things are going to be getting painted, and I don't want to beat the hell out of them when we put them back together. So if I drill a couple of holes, we get it in place, if the nails go in, then I know that we are in the ballpark. The door will open and shut, we won't be scratching paint, and then we can just do a little bit of tweaking instead of spending all day lining these doors back up again. Here is the situation today. So we started out yesterday. I decided I should get the dash painted because I wanted to get the steering column, brakes, and all of that stuff done. And that turned into sanding, taping, and getting the entire inside of the car blacked out. So at least that's done. Amy's going to get the Thermatech put in on the ceiling, roof, whatever you would like to call it. Look how cool that is, man. They started making it black instead of blue. How cool is that? They must have known what color we were going with at the inside of the car.
Dense rubber extrusion, and that is a part of Steel Rubber's universal line.
All set in place so that everything can be tacked and nailed in. We took the steering out, redid it, got the gearbox repainted, welded in the U-joint for the steering. The steering column is in with the new Dakota digital bezel, and everything wraps around the dash. Looks beautiful. This thing's in here nice and solid. And then we made this nice little bracket up here for the clutch setup, and that bolts to some existing holes on the top of the pedal assembly. We don't have the brakes in yet, but you can see the little hole there. That's where the brake push rod will attach. And here's our clutch. Perfect freaking throw on it. It's in line just like it would have been before. All of the wiring, plumbing is done on the engine. The stuff that's hanging here is simply headlights, turn signals, and fans, which obviously do not exist yet. The interior, we spent a couple days up underneath the dash. Everything is wired. All the cables for the heater are in, the switches are in, the radio is in. We just need to run some speaker lines, hook up a couple grounds, and put the steering wheel on. Even got the shift stick put in, so that's ready to go. And the back seat has been modified for the tub so that can all be wrapped now. So everything on the interior is pretty much ready for Amy to start throwing material at it. I would really like to get the front end sheet metal fitted on here. We do already realize we're having an issue with the fan and radiator setup with the core support that we got, so we're gonna have to do some modification to the core support just to make the radiator and fans fit and look nice. But before we do that, let's get all this sheet metal thrown on this thing. Okay, so as usual, it takes a little bit, one piece at a time, to get these things on and get them fitted correctly. There isn't a whole lot of modification that needed to be done, but the front of the door, it kind of went to a point here, so I had to open the gap up a little bit there, and I was very careful when I welded this because, like I said, this is all going to be bare steel when it's done, so we're going to burnish over this and clear it. So we really don't want to see any of these deep scratches or anything in here. But we got that all fitted. I've got good gaps all the way around the door. Everything is lined up really well. I got this bottom corner opened up so that that won't bump at all at any point. And I've got a pretty good gap along here lined up from the front to back. So everything looks really nice. So now we are going to move on to the passenger side. I got everything fitted enough to know that this core support will fit where it's supposed to be and there's no issues there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the couple of modifications that I need to get the radiator to fit with this big block and the pulley system and all that stuff. Basically, we're putting it in the V6 configuration instead of where the V8 radiator would go. So it'll actually sit on the outside closer to the grill than on the inside of the core support. So I'm going to cut those flanges off that face the inside. I'm going to remove this bottom panel here that wraps around the little filler panel, and then I'm going to make 2 aluminum brackets that will mount to these 4 bolts here on each side where the filler panel bolts in, and that will be where we attach the radiator. And then at that point I can do any little teeny tweaking to this fan shroud and get that mounted and the fans in and make sure we got all the room we need for that. And then we will continue to bolt this thing together.